Hello again, welcome back. I'm David Cortez, and today in the Journey Home series, how to get from where you are to who you are, we're going to take a look at shame, one of those key anchoring blocks that live in the gap between where I am and who I am. And if I were to reintroduce myself, I would say, hi, my name is David, and I'm a Shame-A-Holic. How does that land? It's actually accurate. In my own experience going through my childhood and adolescence, what was reflected back to me about me was constant messaging of you're not enough, you're not polite enough, you're not smart enough, you're not obedient enough. It was as if growing up, who I was not acceptable. And as a result of trauma that was also inflicted during that part of my life, I took on a belief, I took on a posture that I'm not lovable, that there's something fundamentally wrong with me. And as my life progressed, I amped that up. It went from I'm not lovable to I'm not even worthy of being loved. And so I got into this shame trap where I began to feel more comfortable, more at home in a posture of shame. And just to be clear, there is a difference between shame and guilt. As I define it, guilt is something I feel about a promise I made or something I said I would do, either to myself or to another, that I didn't deliver on. An unfinished project, a phone call that I don't return, something mechanical exterior to myself. Shame, on the other hand, is a fundamental belief about who I am as a person. In my research over the last 20 years, I've realized that as a species, we live in a state of shame. It's not, are we a shame-based society? It's to what degree are we actually living our lives through that prism. One of the things about shame that make it so unique is it's like a debit card that continues to autofill. You can never empty it until you actually move through it. Shame begets feelings of self-hatred, self-loathing, and out of those energetics, I go out in the world in my shame-aholism and actually replicate behaviors and patterns through my interactions with others. I've hurt people and come home and felt devastating shame. I've come close to succeeding on a project just to abandon it at the last minute and find 100 justifications. I've spent time in deep depression. Every one of these mechanical moves and dances that I've done continue to fuel the shame. So what anchors it? Where is that anchored? And as I began, 25 years ago to do my recovery work, I realized that the taproot to my shame is right in the wounding, where it's anchored into my soul, is in that period of my life where I was obliterated, where the beautiful David was actually crushed. And here I am today. I've done deep healing work on the messaging that I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy of being loved. I've forgiven the perpetrators of that, storyline of mine. And now I want to offer you a key to liberate yourself from your shame trap if you're trapped in one, or your shame story. For me, the key is self-forgiveness. And I didn't just invent that. Through a series of facilitated healing modules with people that I trust that helped me, I realized that is my key. And you'd think, well, if you're stuck in shame, you must have a whole list of people that you need to forgive. No. The truth is, I own my shame, and I own the impact of it. I own the damage I've caused by being in a shame state. And the only way that I can break free of that trap is if I pull out that key of self-forgiveness and put it in the cylinder and open the lock. And that's my work today. Today, I'm 54. That's my work on the planet for me, is to actually find a place where I can forgive myself for the unforgivable, for the things I did inside of that shame loop that impacted others, because that impacts me deeply. And so I invite you on the 27th of September to meet with me at the Embassy Plaza. We're doing a workshop day from noon to 6 on the 27th of September. And we're going to be exploring shame and hopefully giving you a chance to find what your key is. What is the key that will unlock that prison and give you a certain sense of freedom and a space where you can actually step into more of who you are. Looking forward to seeing you there. Thanks for joining me today.